Dinner for shoes, please.
Hello and welcome to an episode of Dinner for Shoes. Today's episode is all about Portugal and Portugal style because Portugal is a very artsy place and I just got back from Portugal. Makes sense, right? We're going to talk about why I was there. We're going to talk about what I explored. Producer Megan and Rachel, aka my sister, also went to Portugal this summer. Portugal is a very trending place to go right now, I feel like. So I really want to get into it and talk about what I learned about Portugal and some of my favorite parts of Portugal and what I think about it as a country in general. I also want to just stop and say, just in case there's anyone out there that's feeling the same way as me, my mental health is really struggling right now. And I know that I'm a very happy person and I'm usually very optimistic, but I just figured I would say that in case anyone else is feeling that way too. I'm extremely stressed out. I spent the entire morning crying on the bathroom floor just because I couldn't get up to walk to the bed. I am feeling really overwhelmed in my work life. There is a lot of shit going on. So I just want to throw that out there to let people know if they're feeling the same way, they're not alone. And maybe that's why I won't be as funny today and upbeat. But I'll try. And Kit's over here. It was thunderstorming earlier today. So Trish is under the blankets in my bedroom. So hopefully they come out. I think when we eat the food, the meal that goes with Portugal, I think they'll come out. That's a little clue, a little teaser there for ya. I'm having my little watermelon mocktail drink. And we're going to do the outfit behind the shoes. We're going to start with the outfit behind the shoes. Now, the outfit behind the shoes, in my opinion, embodies Portugal style. And I wore these shoes in Portugal. These are by Beek. We're going to start with them. Beek is a brand that I recently discovered. I'm obsessed. I have to say, I wore a pair of flip-flops, and I won't name the brand that they were because I don't want to compare and be rude or anything like that. But I wore a pair of flip-flops all around Portugal one day to sightsee in Lisbon. I wore these at night to go out to dinner, and we ended up walking 30 minutes because the first restaurant we wanted to go to was a 15-minute walk, and they didn't have enough space for us, so we had to walk another 15 minutes to our second runner-up restaurant, and these were so fucking comfortable. And I think part of the reason why I'm going to talk about Beek a little bit more, but they are very supportive. They have a very supportive sole. The footbed is cushiony, I'm pressing into it right now. And I swear it's sinking, but also offering support, just the right amount. And these are flat forms. Now, if you've been to Portugal, or even if you haven't, maybe you know that everything is cobblestone. It was really cool. There's very unique cobblestone designs in some of the places that we went to. And it was really cool to see them because Portugal's such an artsy place. So to see the wave, the painted wave, kind of ingrained into the cobblestone was really, really cool. And I found that these kept me flat instead of rocky with a flat flip-flop, right? So I recommend a platform, especially for going out at night. Now, I really like these Beek sandals. They're called the Dunlin because they're very Chloe-esque to me. They're very bohemian, and bohemian style is very much at the forefront of Portugal fashion. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. But let me just talk a little bit about the Dunlin itself. So like I said, there's a molded platform footbed. And the suede, these are designed, the reason why Beek was started was because the founders, it's a female founded brand, two longtime friends, Birgit Klett and Kenna Flory, wanted to create leather sandals that were ethically made, but also comfortable and beautiful, and the type of shoe that actually gets better looking with time the more you wear it. And I felt after scuffing these up a little bit, they actually look cooler to me. They look less fresh out of the box and more lived in, and I just like a shoe like that, which it's very boho to me. Now, the platform height, the front is 1.6 inches, the heel is 3 inches. What else do I want to say about them? The strap is adjustable and it has built-in elastic to kind of give you that really comfortable support, but also stretch and flexibility. They even describe the Dunlin as balancing your weight for lasting comfort. And I think that's exactly what I was feeling when I was walking around Portugal in them. I will read this little mission statement from the brand Beak if you've never heard of them. So they say, call us crazy, but we believe that beauty can be comfortable, and even crazier. We think that great products and life, for that matter, get better with age. We're tired of disposable product. We want something to live in and love in and stay with us through life. So we set out to create a line of footwear that could be all that: gorgeous, easy, timeless styles that get better with age and collect memories along the way. Mine just so happened to collect some memories in Portugal. Our soft tan leathers paired with our signature molded arch result in the most comfortable, timeless, and simply beautiful leather footwear in the market. Of course, I love that they're female founded. I love that they're locally designed and produced. They're designed in Newport Beach, California, and sourced and produced in Mexico and Brazil. And they bring their California mentality to all of the designs that they make. They are constructed with care. They're handmade with the highest quality natural leathers. Some shoes take 24 hours to make. And the best is that they're purpose driven. You know that Megan and I love a brand like that. And for every single pair of shoes that they sell, they donate a full day's worth of meals to a child in need. Since inception of the brand, they've donated over 1 million meals, which is incredible. And when possible, they only use natural tanned leathers and source from factories that hold themselves to the highest environmental standards. So they definitely are an ethical company. And yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about like what I'm wearing and why I think it embodies the Portugal sense of style. So this very boho-esque crop top, it actually came with a pair of pants that make my thighs look really big in my opinion. So I just don't like to wear them. But this is from Cleobella and I love the top. It's very comfy and I'm wearing it sans bra just to be kind of like free-spirited and effortless, which is part of the style that I recognized in Portugal. These jeans I've worn before. They are the Sarah jean, literally named after me. They are from my best friend Ryan's line, RŌARI. I love them, and I'm wearing them with this beige belt, which goes with the skirt that I wore when I was in the south of France pretty recently. I love this belt because I feel like it mimics the exact design of my engagement ring. And then I obviously, to match the yellow plate today, wore these yellow earrings that I picked up in Portugal. And funnily enough, like, I found them in a store and I was like, Nick, I need these. Like, I really want to support local businesses. And then he was like, you're probably going to see those in the next store we go into. And he was right. But I really like them. They're like clay, handmade. They're imprinted and they have a little gold center. They're kind of like a flower separated. So if you were to separate like a really pretty yellow petal flower and put half in one ear and half in the other, that's what they're like. I wore them one night when we were in Portugal going out to dinner. So yeah. Let's go straight into kind of like the style that I noticed in Portugal and how I feel like people, both tourists and people who actually live in Portugal, dress there. Because I think that and I really noticed this the most in Lisbon. Nick and I were there for a wedding. The wedding took place in Porto, and that was like our first destination. So we were there for 3 nights, and then we went over to Lisbon, and we kind of just like stayed in Lisbon. We did some day trips, Cascais, the beach over there. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Let's just look it up because I don't want to mispronounce things. You guys know I love to look up pronunciations. I mean, you should appreciate the fact that it's pronounced Cascais, with an emphasis on the second syllable and a sh sound at the end. Like the S in pleash. Pleash is a word? Like, see, I didn't know that. For an English pronunciation, you would say it similarly, Cascais or Cascais. Cascais. I like that. Okay, so we went there. That was a beautiful beach town. Kind of like what I would think of as Portugal's like resident city resort area. And that was really, really beautiful. But in Lisbon was where I think I noticed the strongest sense of style. It is, of course, the capital. Is it the capital? It is the capital of Portugal. So I think that it's just like more like the hub. And that's when I really started to like recognize the way people were dressing. So what I would say is that if I had to summarize Portugal's style in 2 words, it would be modernized bohemian. And I think my outfit kind of represents that today with this like platform, which is very much trending right now. And then what I really noticed people wearing is like flowy outfits, maybe like 2-piece sets, maybe like a silk slip or romantic blouse or romper, but with like sneakers, something functional, something modern. So I noticed a lot of like girls wearing really pretty like silk sets, for example, with like socks and Birkenstocks, or ankle socks just like kind of scrunched down with like Adidas sneakers, which I thought was really, really cool. Lots of crop tops, minimal makeup, flowy pants. The pants probably would have been perfect to wear with this, but I wanted to kind of bring an element of modernity to it and kind of like speak to my engagement ring with the belt. So that's what I did, and that is kind of the thing that I noticed the most when it came to Portugal fashion. I'm going to talk through some of the outfits that I wore because I felt like as I was in Portugal, I kind of wanted to model my style around what I was noticing and seeing. But I want to also talk about like my favorite thing that I recognize that also has to do with style and fashion, in my opinion, because art and fashion really go hand in hand. I saw when I was there these huge, like I started to see these huge like 3D street art murals made into animals. And you guys know I obviously love animals. So I was like, oh, what is this? And it was made out of trash, like all these, and colorful trash too. And I think the first one that I saw was, we saw the panda. The panda was like one of the first. And I looked it up and I was like, let me ask ChatGPT, let me ask Chatty, like, what the fuck is this? So I learned about Bordalo II, who was a Portuguese street artist known for his series called Big Trash Animals. So immediately I texted Rachel and Megan. Megan's an artist, obviously. I was like, did you guys see any of these Bordalo II like installations anywhere, any of these murals? And they sent me one. They saw like a bee or something. And then I was seeing them everywhere. And as it turns out, when I did a little bit of research, and if you're ever in Portugal or you haven't been, or maybe you have been and you didn't see any of these installations this time, but you'll go back and you'll see them again, definitely look for them. The idea was to form large-scale animal portraits, highlighting the contrast between beauty and waste. Bordalo II's works almost always carry an environmental message, drawing attention to pollution, consumerism, and endangered species. One of the first ones that I actually looked up was the panda. That is a recognizable construction with tires, car parts, and debris sculpted onto walls, then painted to resemble the animal, the panda. We ate lunch like right across where the panda was, and we saw a lot of the little street carts, which are very popular to get a ride in Lisbon, just kind of like stopping, and the driver kind of being like, oh, that's Bordalo II. And so it was kind of cool to see that. We saw the rabbit in Porto. That was like the first one that we saw. It's called the Half Rabbit in Vila Nova de Gaia, across the river from Porto. And that's one of his most photographed installations, which I think is really cool. So yeah, I just thought that that was pretty awesome. It was probably my favorite part or learning about Portugal, even though we really did see so many other incredible things there. Let's first talk about like what I wore when I was in Porto, because like I said, I was there for a wedding. I had this beautiful pink floral 12th tribe dress, and I'm really glad that it veered on the bohemian side, because I ended up feeling like that was very much like the vibe. And it was very, very colorful and bold. And I kind of went with like a pink color scheme for the entire time that I was in Porto. I had this solid and striped pink bikini cover up, and I matched it with my pink and red and brown and green kind of like striped, solid and striped bikini one day. I also wore this really pretty brown one shoulder striped dress from Zara to go out to dinner with my lovely beak sandals. That was my first time wearing them in Portugal. And for the wedding itself, I ended up in this like tight fitting. It wasn't the dress I wanted to go with. I wanted to go with this like really free flowing, again, pink dress, but my tits popped right out, so that didn't work. So I went with this like green, pretty backless, tight-fitting dress, and it had this shell. This was my favorite part of the dress. It had this like little shell ornament that you could move either to the front of the dress or the back of the dress to kind of like show off the back. I also wore this really cool Lisa Says Ga bikini one day, because I felt like a lot of the foods, such as olives, such as sardines, such as shrimp, they all are food that is very popular in Portugal, that there are a lot of different takes on. I wore a lot of headscarves. I feel like headscarves are like super bohemian. I braided one into my hair one day. I thought that was really nice and fun. And then when we got to Lisbon, I just really was loving Lisbon. Like I said, we walked around one day. I was wearing a pair of Everlane flip-flops, and I wore that with this like little linen jumpsuit romper type thing, which was just fun to slip in and out of. With like my white Stout bag. And then I wore this really cool, like electrifying yellow. And I felt like it was boho in the sense that it was like a really beautiful lace insert slip from Zara. And I wore it with a pair of Zara Lucite sandal mules. Actually, I was going to wear them to the wedding if that pink dress had worked out. But that was a really fun dress for me because I felt like it was very free flowing, very much embodied the vibe of Lisbon. And that was like my first day in Lisbon. So I was like really getting into it. And then when we went to Cascais, I just pronounce that totally differently. Cascais. I decided to really lean in, and I took my scarf and I did like a little trick, and I wore it as a top, and I wore it with my straw lack of color fedora that I kind of put another scarf into. So it was like just these striped pants, really free flowing and beautiful. And I really just enjoyed that. When we were in Portugal, we did a lot of sightseeing on our last day, and we saw Portugal's Age of Discoveries. We saw the Jerónimos Monastery, which was incredibly beautiful. The grass in the center of it is perfectly green. The architecture is incredible. When you walk down the halls, you just are like, your breath is taken away. And we also saw the Monument to the Discoveries, which is huge. You can't miss it. It's this monumental sculpture that celebrates the navigators and explorers of Portugal's Age of Discovery. So that was really fun. And I also want to talk about some of the incredible restaurants that we ate at, because I really noticed that like in Lisbon, the food scene is booming. We went to some really, really, really cool places. So the first one that I want to talk about is, I don't know. Where is it? So, of course, one of the foods that we had, it was actually the first food that we tried when we touched down in Porto, was the pastel de nata, which is kind of like an egg custard treat. It is really good. Sometimes they're served hot, sometimes they're served cold. The first one I tried was served cold. It was very sweet and eggy. And then the second one I tried was warm. We even were a little bit delayed in the airport on our way home when we got one in the airport because we were like, we have to. So those are really, really, like, you can't go to Portugal without trying one of those. We also went to a restaurant in Lisbon called Zaza. Zaza was delicious and probably the best meal I had, to be quite honest. So Zaza we went to for dinner. The website literally says Zaza is like a heartbeat, a restaurant thought out with care in every detail so that you are welcome, make it your second home, and feel homesick when you are not nearby, which this food was literally so incredible. It was very good for sharing. We did get this like really good ravioli that actually tasted like popcorn. I'm going to do dinner in a fit for both Zaza and Bananca, the other restaurant that I'm going to be talking about. But I just want to mention that like this food was amazing. The service was absolutely amazing. We literally enjoyed that meal so much. And that's when I wore my little yellow slip. So that was really great. And then we went to Bananca, and Bananca is a very cool restaurant. I'm going to read a little bit about it because it really blew me away. So where the wind that propelled, and this was for brunch, where the wind that propelled Portuguese navigators blows gently, bringing with it the promise of new worlds. Here, every moment celebrates the fearless soul who crossed seas and challenged the horizon in search of the serenity that arises after the storm. Inspired by the winds that guided the caravels, we invite you to embark on the breeze of adventure where tradition and discovery come together in a harmonious embrace. At the table, time slows down and the journey becomes a destination and an experience that echoes the roots of sailors in search of new flavors and stories. So the Lisbon Naval Association is the oldest nautical club in Portugal and the Iberian Peninsula, and is among the 30 oldest nautical clubs in Europe. So if you look at all the incredible architecture and murals and paintings inside, it's all tied to the Lisbon Naval Association. There's a mural inside the room. We ate outside, but this was like if you walk into the restaurant. And it says the mural in the former D. Manuel I room, painted in 1940, depicts the arrival of the Portuguese embassy in Rome in 1514, which is just really cool. So there's so much legacy and history tied to this restaurant, and the food was absolutely amazing. I love butter that comes on the table with the bread and like a really pretty floral origami-like structure, and that's what we got. And the menus were also just gorgeous. They were like hand painted, which is insane. We got really good drinks. Nick got the Diu, which was a rum drink, and I got the Goa, which was a tequila drink. Which it was a tequila take on a porn star martini, and my best friend Isabel's favorite drink is a porn star martini. So I was like, I gotta get that. Normally, porn star martinis are not made with tequila. And then we just did sightseeing for the rest of the day. And when we went to Bananca, I wore this like really cute polka dot garage set. It comes with a little bustier and skirt, my Everlane flip flops, and funnily enough, like a Yankees hat, which is this really pretty shade of teal. And I covered it with a polka dot scarf just to be a little bit artsy and really speak to like that Portugal, Lisbon, boho, laid back, but also kind of modern sense of style. So that was really Portugal in a nutshell. I will say some other cool stuff is the hotel that we stayed at when we were in Porto had these really cool, and it just speaks to like how artsy Portugal is as a whole, but these really cool like fish like benches in the hallway. And Nick and I took a picture of them. We were like, okay, we are going to get those in our eventual house. If I never talked about it before, we have a house requirements list in our notes. It's a collaborated note, and it keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And there's so much shit on it. One of them is like a gold urinal. I think gold urinal was the first thing that was ever put on this list because Nick is psycho. But yeah, I also discovered, I can't believe I forgot to mention this because we need to talk about food, obviously, and I'm gonna get my food in a sec. This seltzer, it was a flavored seltzer that probably has a shit ton of like aspartame in it because it was so good, called Frise. And I tried the grapefruit one and it was so good. And yeah, that was really Portugal. I had a blast. I felt like I slowly, as time went on, started to create a sense of style that blended my own, which is like a little bit more modern with like what I was seeing the people wear in Portugal. And of course, we went to get sardines because sardines are the food of Portugal, and pastel de nata, but one sec, because I'm going to sample some, and the cats are hopefully going to come. We're going to talk about the sardines in Portugal. Okay. So, if you've been to Portugal, then you know that they literally have these stores everywhere. The first one we saw, we were like, this is the coolest store ever. And then we saw one on like every corner. It was like as big as Starbucks. But okay, the Portuguese sardine, the fantastic world of the Portuguese sardine. They have literally so many flavors. It's insane. I'm going to like display this, right? Okay. So this is just, they have such cool packaging. I knew Kit would come right on up. Now you're up, Speedy. I was obsessed with this crazy for sardines packaging. Let's take a little pic. Okay. So this is the really cool packaging. My name is Dean Sardine. Grab my 6-pack. Sardines come in all different flavors. I didn't even know how many flavors. Nick and I actually tried the octopus. I don't know which one I'm going to try. I'm probably going to try oh, there are 2 yellow. They're spicy smoked. We got a little like variety pack here. There's sardines with lemon. There's sardines with mustard. I think this is what I'm going to try because it's yellow, like my color palette today. Sardines with tomato. Sardines con pimentos, grilled sardines with roasted peppers, and just like the regular sardines. This is the most classic and the most expensive. Sardines, skinless and boneless, and extra virgin olive oil. Okay, pretty, but we're gonna try the one with the mustard. Okay. Let's do it. And again, I haven't tried these yet. And Nick and I opened the octopus can that we got, and it was like really hard to open. So let's see. Oh, I opened it. Watch me get like sardine juice everywhere. How do you go away when I open up the sardines? Cats are supposed to like sardines. Sorry, I've been like on a Sabrina Carpenter kick because her new album came out. I like don't know how I feel about these sardines, but let's put this, let's just do something pretty here. Okay, I've made a sardine fort. We did have sardines when we were there, obviously, like out to dinner, but I like don't really know exactly how to eat them. I think you could just eat them like this. Ooh. That's really good. Wow, I love it. Nick was like trying not to eat the center, like the spine of it, but I'm like, fuck it. That is so good. Trish is scared because of the rain today. Wow. I get it. I get the hype. These are absolutely delicious and they're expensive for a reason. They're made really, really expensively. No, I really don't know. Okay, but I like the mustard one. I really like it. I should probably also sample another one, but I don't want to like open them all. Kid's coming back up. Come here. Come here. Come up. Come up. She smells it. She's like, what does that smell? Come here. I'll let you try one. Come on up. Come on. Anyway, I think that Portugal is such a magical place. It's super artsy. And I will say that Nick and I, it wasn't our favorite place we've ever been in Europe, but it was artsy and fun. Let's see if you like a little bit. Very little bit. Here. Come here. Come on. She's like smelling my hand instead of sampling it, you know? Try it. She's such a baby. All right. Sardines for me only then. Maybe. I feel like I can't completely leave Trish out, so let me like go tease her with this and see if she comes to follow me. Let's see. Trish. Sardines. She's following, she's following, she's following. The sardine cat is coming. Trish. Sardine. Come on, come get one. Trish is a Portuguese cat, okay? Come here. I'll let you have a little bit. It's a treat. I did bring some home for them. You really probably shouldn't have it with mustard, but here, eat right there. The sardine cat. And then Kit's like, why don't I like it? Because Kit, you're not a normal cat. You don't like things that normal cats like. Trish is the sardine cat. Trish is the sardine cat. Trish loves sardines. Okay, be careful on the can. Okay, we love you. I'm sorry if I wasn't that funny today because I am down in the dumps. I'm just going to eat sardines with my cats for the rest of the night. Good night. Love you. Bye. Are sardines bad for you? All right, you eat this one. Here.